Well, thanks very much. And first of all, say thank you very much, both of you, for some brilliant insights and great entertainment this afternoon. I guess what I'd like to ask is what you miss most, what you rather disingenuously called ordinary people just like us. But it's kind of quite sexy being at the heart of power and politics. And what do you miss most?
Well, I miss my constituency. The Speaker has given me a pass called the freedom of the House. I can do anything I want in the House of Commons. Go to the cafeteria, go to the library, sit in the Peers Gallery. And they have listened to a Commons debate in the Peers Gallery without the humiliation of being a Lord. It's amazing. What I miss is my constituency. Every week for 51 years, I sat and for hours I listened to people's problems. And it was no good lecturing them on socialism. If somebody came and said, Tony, I'm 80, my husband died, I need a bungalow, it was no good telling her about the class struggle. She wanted help with a bungalow, and then you said to yourself, why the hell hasn't she got a bungalow? My son's unemployed, why is he unemployed? And the nicest letter I had when I left Parliament was from a man who said, Dear Tony, I've just retired as a teacher, and I want to thank you for getting me a grant to go to teacher training college 40 years ago. I thought, boy. And you see, one man came, said he wanted to prosecute his son. He had crutches. I said, well, tell me about it. Well, he said he doesn't, I think he's stealing money, he doesn't help in the house. I listened to it, and I said to him at the end, I said, I'm a bit older than you. He was in his 70s, must have been getting on for 80. I said, could you be a bit jealous of your son? And he said, he clapped his thigh and said, Mr. Benn, I believe you're absolutely right, picked up his crutch and went out. And I felt as a psychotherapist. And I learned everything from my constituents. Because you see, being an MP is a job they never look at properly. 95% of an MP's work is in his constituency. The speech in Parliament, the rebel, the revolt, and all, rubbish. It's what you do locally. That's why I'm totally opposed to a PR with a list system where the leader would decide where you were on the list. And it's the only job we have one employee and 60,000 employers. Everyone in my constituency is employed, with the bus driver, the street sweeper, the home help. I love that job, and that's what I miss. Otherwise, I'm free, because I can say what I like. I always did, but I can say what I like. And I don't want anything. If I'd known what fun it was to be 80, I'd have done it years ago. Wonderful life. I recommend it to the young people I see sitting here.
What do I miss? I miss the really big moments. Definitely. I used to like I can remember when, just to give you one example, when Tony first met Gaddafi. I'd never met Gaddafi. So I'd seen him at most of the kind of big summits with most of the big leaders, and there's always kind of, they're interesting because, like I say, it's just people in the end. So, for example, last week when the Gordon Brown Sarkozy summit, where our press had one of its sort of ridiculous spasms over Carla, who, yes, she's very nice, but anyway. But they're interesting. And so when I saw him with Gaddafi, and I thought, I'm not there. I missed that. I missed the fact that, at the moment, I do, like a lot of people who kind of have been on one very high pressure sort of 24-hour-a-day existence, I've gone to doing sort of a bit of this and a bit of that, and I miss having a single sort of driving purpose that gives definition, if you like, and purpose to my life. But then I sort of say, well, that's the sort of downside. I miss a team, actually. I miss the team that I built up, because I really did build up within the communication side of things a very, very good team. But then I just look at the freedom that I got, and I think, well, I think I was the right guy for that time, that period, with that particular leader and prime minister, and it worked and it clicked. And whatever anybody else says, they can say what they want. We fought 3 general elections, we won them all, we did an awful lot of things that we set out to do, and now we're both off doing different things. And my kids have got through it, and the family's strong, and so I don't miss any of it enough to want to go back.
You talked about how you don't like the way the Today Show took you on, Mr. Campbell, but you also got didn't the BBC give you a show when the diaries came out where you were shown writing, and you got a lot of very good media time. So it sort of seems like they both give and take from you.
Yeah, well, look, whether I like it or not, and in the context of the diaries coming out, I did. There is I'd have a certain profile that attaches itself to me. The media, I think, have always been overly interested in me and what I did and what I do, and that's their problem, if you like. But I don't think there's anything wrong in me when I've got a book to promote. if they want to come along and say we'd like to do a 3-hour program on it, fine. And the point about that was that actually I thought it was quite interesting, and lots of people seem to watch it, and fine, nobody gets hurt, as it were. The thing about the point I was making about the Today program was, if you like, I think and the interview when the book came out, I think it revealed a kind of an obsession. And I do think there were parts of the media who were completely obsessed about me, and Peter Mandelson is another one. And I think what it's about, I mean, I've really tried to think about this, because in the end, look, people used to, this thing that attached itself to me, I was the real Deputy Prime Minister, it was complete rubbish. Because power, political power to me, if you're in an elected political position, is the ability to go to the Prime Minister and say, look, you want to do that, but actually I want to do this, and we're going to have an argument about it. And I saw lots of occasions where that happened. John Prescott or Gordon Brown or David Blunkett or Jack Straw, whoever it might be. If I'd have ever gone to Tony Blair and said, look, you know, well, you might believe in all this sort of education reform, malarkey and all the rest of it, but actually, you know, or give you another example. If I'd have gone down to do my daily briefings and said that the Prime Minister said this yesterday, but actually we're going to do this, then I'm out of a job straight away, because it wasn't about power. It was about me as an appointed official helping him to do his job. And I think that because I was the person the media was seeing all the time, in a way of, I think, making themselves more important, they sort of elevated me to this thing that I never really was.
But you see, the real division in politics is, in my opinion, regardless of party, between the signposts and the weathercocks. The signpost says this is the way you should go. You don't take their advice. You'll come back in 10 years' time and the signpost's there. The weathercock hasn't got an opinion till he's looked at the polls, talked to the focus groups, had a word with the spin doctors. I've no time for weathercocks. I admire people who say what they mean what they say, don't make personal attacks. And whatever you think of Mrs. Thatcher, and I thought her policy was absolutely awful, you can't complain that she always stood for what she said she'd stand for, and anyone who voted for her voted for what happened. So that's a different way of looking at it. And I think that trust in politics depends on a few more signposts and a fewer weathercocks.
I'd like to bring it to an end. I'd like to thank both of our diarists and their absolutely wonderful books, which I suggest you would really enjoy. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Yes, no, wait.
Now, just one word. There were two very famous constitutional historians in Oxford in the 19th century. One was called Freeman and the other was called Stubbs, and they greatly admired each other. And somebody wrote a little ditty ladling butter from their mutual tubs. Stubbs butters Freeman, Freeman butters Stubbs. And I did a little version, because we've had such a nice evening. In or out of number 10, Benn praises Campbell, Campbell praises Benn. That is the basis of our...